Welcome to the Life Self-Mastery Podcast, where we bring in entrepreneurs who have created online businesses and improved their lifestyles. Here's your host, Rohit Malhotra.
Hi everyone, I'm Rohit from lifeselfmastery.com, and today we have Marc Guberti, who's a young entrepreneur who's achieved great success only in his teens. He's a successful blogger, a speaker, an author, and a social media influencer with over 250,000 followers on Twitter. He's a host of Breakthrough Success podcast and has hosted Content Marketing Success Summit and has recently launched his new book, Content Marketing Secrets. Welcome to the show, Marc.
It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me.
So, Marc, please do share your journey on why you started blogging and why you started writing content about content marketing.
So my blogging journey starts as a Boston Red Sox fan in New York, trying to interact with other Red Sox fans, and you obviously cannot do that in New York. So I created the blog about the Boston Red Sox to interact with other Red Sox fans. Now, this isn't my main blog, obviously, but it was my starting point. It got me into writing content. Eventually, I wanted to drive more traffic to this blog and subsequent blogs that I created. So I created a Twitter account, started promoting, and I really love that whole process of tweeting out my content and then expanding on other social networks and just getting the word out about my content. And I realized this is something that other people want to do also. That's when I realized I could write content about content marketing and teach people so they would be able to expand their brand presences. And since I really love the whole process of building up traffic and building relationships, this was my perfect groove and I haven't turned back.
Awesome. So what made you want to become a social media influencer and build up such a huge base on Twitter?
Well, when I did decide to take social media seriously, I looked at a lot of blog posts from other social media experts, and I remembered how much they helped me. And I knew that by becoming an influencer, I could help other people in the same way and even provide a new flair to some of what was already being said, insert my personality into my content. So it was just really, I want to spread my message and do what I love to do. And at the intersection of those lied being a social media influencer.
How much time do you spend blogging? Because you do have your college and other things.
So I've taken a lot of different writing styles. There was a time where I would choose one day of the week, write all the blog posts, and then other 6 days do nothing, but that may be inconsistent. So what I'm doing now, and this is what I also did when I was able to write a lot more content than what I have been producing. So I've been writing one blog post every single day, and I never write more than one blog post per day anymore. I just do one a day consistently. So this takes me anywhere from 30 to 45 minutes per day consistently. We're getting closer to 30 minutes because I'm doing this consistently for like a week now, and that's just going to be the way that I publish content every single day as we head into 2018. So I only spend like 30 to 45 minutes writing actual content for my blog. I'd easily spend more on building relationships and communicating and interacting with people than writing the actual content.
Why do you think content marketing and content creation is important in today's time?
I think both of them will continue to stay very important. They've definitely had a really big impact on my brand. And I would say out of the two, content marketing is the more important.
When you talk about content marketing, so what is involved into that? If a layman wants to know more about content marketing, how would you reframe it?
To gain more insights on content marketing, just do a lot of research on content marketing, do a lot of experimentation. My favorite way to do content marketing is to focus on building relationships. So that's why I have a podcast like yours where I interview people, build relationships with guests, invite them to share it afterwards, whether they want to or don't want to. It's great to have them, but getting them to share also boosts your exposure. So content marketing in my eyes is a really strong focus on building relationships, and then other things like promoting on social media, getting on podcasts, writing guest posts are all things about content marketing that are really important to implement.
Last 1 year or so, you've had 2 big virtual summits. How has virtual summits helped grow your brand? And would you suggest other people to also do summits to grow your brand and to grow your email list?
Virtual summits are really amazing because you gather a bunch of people together. The amount of stuff you're going to learn alone is incredible, but some of these people will then promote the summit to their audiences. I've gotten thousands of new email subscribers because some of my speakers and partners I was able to recruit for the summit promoted to their audiences. And it's not like this is a one-time thing. Like for my Content Marketing Success Summit, it's going to be Evergreen really soon. So I'm going to invite some of those partners back to promote, and I'm going to have new speakers come in who then promote to their audiences. And I can invite partners to promote anything I do, ranging from webinars to landing pages that lead to a product. So, I mean, it's great in the short term because you have these partners promoting your summit, but it could also be so much more in the long term because as these people are growing their audiences, you're continuing to grow yours and have more offerings, and then you're going to possibly go to them and ask if they could promote, and they're going to promote something else of yours with an even bigger audience.
How big should a summit be in sense of number of speakers and how many days should one run a summit? What's been your experience about it?
From what I've heard, 20 is the minimum and 50 is usually where people go. I've seen some summits do like 70 to 80. That's where I'm going to go with some of my summits, like the Content Marketing Success Summit, as I make it evergreen, because then I could just keep on inviting speakers and I can keep on reaching more people with the summit and providing a better experience for people who already have the summit's all access pass.
Do you also sell your own course after the summit, or is it just to build your own brand?
After the summit, I have my Content Marketing Plaza course, which is basically all the knowledge I have on content marketing. I put it into that course so people can learn how to create the content, how to optimize the content, spread it so that it's very visible, and then actually monetize their efforts. So it's not like you're creating all this content but not seeing anything in return.
How would you suggest a beginner to build up an email list? Because you really have a big email list. So how does one go about building an email list?
There are plenty of ways to do it. Virtual summits worked really good for me. And just that whole idea of having partners do some of the work for you. So you have a high converting product or you get speakers for your summit, have them do promotion that helps you grow your email list. And what also works for me is promoting my landing pages on social media. So on Twitter, I'm tweeting about my landing page every single hour because that's what works. That's what allows me to get dozens of subscribers every single day. And it's not just Twitter, it's obviously all of them. Facebook ads, I haven't really dabbled into yet, but that's really good. And finally, optimizing your blog so you get more subscribers, like having a welcome mat, having the pop-up, having the opt-in form at the end of every blog post, and just finding more ways to optimize your blog.
How's blogging changed your life and building a personal brand? Do you think most entrepreneurs should go about building their own brand? Because a lot of entrepreneurs run a lifestyle business, but they do not want to build a brand. So do you suggest everybody should have their own blog? And how has blogging changed your outlook towards entrepreneurship and towards relationships?
Before I go into my answer, it could be a blog, it could be a YouTube channel, it could be a podcast, just any type of way where you're producing content. And to go into your question now, I mean, it's really changed my life. I've been able to connect with a lot of amazing people. My confidence has definitely gone up ever since I started the blog. So it has a lot of rewards there. You're doing something that you love to do. And for someone who's like, can this really expand? Well, this is a great way to build relationships with people who aren't your buyers right away and to warm them up to your brand, your image. And that will eventually result in people who had never heard of you before eventually buying some of your products or services.
So let's talk about the new book that you've launched, which is Content Marketing Secrets. So why did you decide to write this book?
I learned a lot from hosting the Content Marketing Success Summit. And I knew that there are people who, they're content creators, are trying to figure out how it all works. And based on all the question answers received, it turns out it just comes down to creating, marketing, and making the revenue. And that's what the questions most people had. I mean, if you master those three areas, you're pretty much set in content, any type of content brand. So that's why I decided to write this book. It's for people who they're really committed to what they're doing, but they want to figure out, why am I not at the result that I want to go at? What's holding me back? What are the few things that I'm not doing that can really make a big difference for me? So that's why I wrote this book. I filled it with as much useful, actionable advice as possible. Very biased opinion. I don't think there's any type of filler in it. Obviously, the readers are the true judges of that. But I wanted to write a book where like every page is something that you could take action on, and it's going to help you get closer to the big goal that you have for your content brand.
In the book, you talk about different ways of monetizing your brand, which is affiliate marketing, courses, books, or summits. If somebody wants to start monetizing their own personal brand, what is the best way to monetize your blog and your personal brand?
That is a good question, and it depends on what you're looking for. So if you're looking for something where you don't want to have to create a product, you want to just get in as quickly as possible. I would say something like coaching, because you don't actually start fulfilling the service until someone starts paying you. With a training course, you have to create all the videos, the PDFs, and you have to like create landing pages and stuff like that. I mean, that's for like landing pages is for all of them. But like the point is there's more work leading up to a training course than there is work leading up to a coaching program. Now, the thing with a training course is that you could get like thousands of students into those training courses and it's fine. Like in most cases, that just means on your end, answering a few questions. With coaching, getting 1,000 clients is a completely different story, because if you're giving them an hour of your attention every single month and you have to do that for 1,000 clients, well, that's 1,000 hours every single month. And there are not 1,000 hours in a month. So you have to think about what you want right now. Is this something where you want to just get in right away, start making the revenue now? Or is this something where you're willing to put in the initial work to create something like a training course? Or do you want to offer a mix of both? There are some people who do like a limit of only 5 coaching clients because that's how many they can take in while still doing the rest of their business, and then spend the other time like creating training courses, writing books, prepping for a virtual summit, or some other method of generating revenue.
Also, in the book, you talk about social media platforms like Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Pinterest, and all. So what is your favorite social media platform for generating traffic?
My favorite one by far is Twitter. That's the first one that I mastered. Other people may have a different opinion of which one's their favorite. I mean, you'll hear different opinions based on who you ask. But for me, it's Twitter because, I mean, I consistently get hundreds of daily blog visitors from it. And it's really great for building relationships. I mean, you can get into really long conversation with people. But I will say Facebook comes at a really close second because of their new not new. It's been like their groups. I say new because I've recently started to actually get into groups and post in there frequently. So you could use groups to get a lot of answers to your questions, answer people's questions, and meet a lot of awesome people. The best social network in the end is the one that you can use to generate traffic and meet with like-minded people. I'd recommend Facebook for the groups and Twitter for the whole thing.
What are your future plans and what keeps you going? Because I'm really impressed with the consistency which you come out with summits, podcasts, or blogs. So what keeps you going for your personal brand?
I just really love to create content. And anytime I feel like I'm slipping with content creation, and this was before I developed that habit of writing a blog post every day, it wasn't the most fun because I wasn't doing what I truly wanted to do. Like anytime I'm interviewing someone for a podcast, being on a podcast, writing content for a blog or a guest post or a book, I am really enjoying that experience. I don't view it as work when I am in that actual process of content creation. So having the ability to continue to create content that is continuing to serve my audience, that is what drives me every day. And one more thing about the audience, you'll only truly be driven by your audience if you're actually interacting with them. Because like with Twitter, for instance, you can see a big number of followers, but get to know some of the people within that number. Get to know individual people who are sharing your content, reading it, listening to it. Get to know individual people in your audience. And that is really going to ignite you to the next level.
Let's quickly do the top 3. What's your favorite business book?
I've read 30 books a month at certain points. Think and Grow Rich is a book that immediately comes to mind, but a lot of people give that answer. So I'll say The Compound Effect is a really good one because that shows how doing the same small actions every single day can really have an exponential impact on where you go in life, whether it's for better or for worse. But small actions we do make a really big difference later on.
If you could go back in time when you started your business, what is the one thing you would have focused on?
Definitely, I would have focused a lot more time on building relationships. I mean, I was really great at creating the content. Like I had no problem with showing up every day and writing the content. When you look at first blog posts, they're nothing like what they are now, but I would have focused on building relationships a lot quicker because that's how you expand your network. That's how your message spreads. I would have started a podcast much earlier because that's my favorite way of building relationships, having someone as a guest on my podcast because I get to learn from them. My audience gets to learn from them. They get more exposure and it just creates a really healthy relationship. So those are some of the things I would have focused on. But even then, I'm still blogging every day because I just love that part of content creation.
What's your favorite online tool, for example, Gmail or Slack?
There are a lot of different tools out there. Lately, I've liked to use Numbers for the Mac, Excel for the like other computers because you could calculate stuff there. There's like advanced stuff. Like I'm not really good at explaining that because I just learned it. So like you could calculate, for instance, like how much income you make if you sell all these products. You can see your expenses. You can see like where it's supposed to spread out your income. So there are like a lot of different things that you can calculate there. I also like viral tag a lot. That's for scheduling your social media posts, but creating an evergreen structure where all the posts are constantly being scheduled in a cycle, and that gives you more time to interact with your audience.
We'll post it on the show notes. What is the best way people can reach out to you?
The best way for people to reach out to me is to go to Marc Guberti, that is Marc with a C.com. You can connect with me on social networks at Marc Guberti as well, but the main point of social networks for a content brand standpoint is to lead them to your site. So I would rather just have people go to my site, marcguberti.com, and read some of my blog posts, listen to some of my podcasts, and also subscribe as well.
Got it. Thank you very much for coming onto the show, Marc. I really appreciate it.
It was a pleasure to be here.
Thanks for listening to the Life Self-Mastery podcast, where we teach you how to start and grow your online business. For more information, visit Rohit's blog at www.lifeselfmastery.com.